In the last episode of this podcast, we started to look at team strengths. And the aim there was to introduce different concepts, different ideas of how to build the most applicable team for the needs of that team and for the people or departments or even clients that team needed to service. It was also referenced about how to blend that team and to build it stronger once you had the key or main personalities in place, and then ideally all of the personalities in place that you thought and felt and researched were applicable. This episode therefore can go a little bit further with that, and as we'll know, especially if you're a business manager or work in leadership of some form, there are lots of different ways to look at blending a team with lots of different platforms and theories and various functionalities that you can gear into to help with that task. Things you can research online are what feel to be the age-old theories of norming, storming, and forming a team. You have DISC profiles and various team profiling methodologies. Now, a lot of it is available online, even if people still fill out paper or online questionnaires. And you've then got various resilient training and formats that you can look into. The thing for us, though, is that you can go as far as you can with these theories, and in lots of cases, especially with the good ones, you will see benefits and you will see advancements. The difference between having a good or well-performing team and having one that is beyond superb and excellent, though, tends to come down to you. You as the leader, as the guide, as the main facilitator of that team, or maybe even as the chief executive or managing director of a certain company that's in charge of a certain team or all of the teams. Because whichever teams that you facilitate or teams that you control or that you're trying to build, whether you're a team leader, business manager, even a chief executive or managing director, how you design, steer, gear and support comes down to the key successes at the end of the day. Now, you will go so far, you will have to pass the reins over to the team and team members, and of course they will need to do what they need to do to perform. Yet, here's the thing. Organizations that recruit teams just to do a job will have, or are likely to have, many more problems than those that build a team for not just the key tasks at hand, but to create the involvement, the motivation, and the want to be there in the first place. Therefore, there's very key and numerous nuances in this mix that can help you have a good team opposed to an average or mediocre team, and there are numerous mixes that can help you have a superstellar team, even if it takes a little bit of time to get to that level. But one thing that we will tell you, and we'll say now, just placing this as a nugget, is that if you always go out there to do the right thing for all of the right reasons, even you can be amazed what can be achieved, even if it takes the medium to long term to achieve it. One good example of this is a little bit movie orientated, but a movie that lots of us have probably now seen is one of the Top Gun movies, Top Gun 2. There was this dangerous mission. They brought these pilots in to undertake the mission, key training, and whilst they were going through the classroom, the theories, and flying the planes in the air, there were still these clashes of personalities, different tensions, everybody wanting to be the team leader, to be the big boss, if you like, and things just weren't working out. Now, even though this wasn't a movie, it's a summary example and doesn't go anywhere near to the depth of helping to create a good team or an excellent team from an average or mediocre team, one thing that storyline presented was having everybody go onto the beach, have a game of volleyball, stroke football, whatever it was, American football, from what I can recall. But an hour or so, these guys having fun, splashing around in the water, tackling each other, it just broke down all of those tensions. It also allowed people to have fun together, to pass a ball for whatever direction or directive that it was, and people were just having fun. Now, lots of organizations have team away days, have team timeouts, all of these things, and it can help. But seldom is that done enough to break down some of the issues that lots of organizations would otherwise come to have, and seldom does it melt away issues that can simmer in the background or still manifest at key moments or over key periods that can make big differences to your organization. In former episodes, we've discussed about internal inefficiencies can cause problems, and we'll all know what happens when things go wrong on the client side, and then things become a little bit more public, or you can lose deals, orders, and even clients. But this movie example, and say it was just an example, so it's not one to rely on too much for solving all of your team issues or to build a superb team, which is all that many of us want to create when we get in these team building or team facilitating moments or projects. But it was a good example of how different nuances are needed to break down the tensions, to assess the different motivations and interests of team members, and to at least get everybody on the right side. Because if you have a team, there's always going to be differences, but if one team member supports another, that team member supports another, and before you know, you go all the way around the circle, and every team member is not just supporting the next one or the last one, but they're all supporting the ones in between, almost like a matrix organization, then you've got a rock-solid team designed and working for the right reasons, and you can bet your bottom dollar that they'll be enjoying it. And when you create these positive experiences and these positive environments, that goes back to what was mentioned a few minutes ago, that you will just be amazed at what can be achieved. It might not happen immediately. You might have one or two good days, and there will still be some bad days in the mix. That's for sure. That's what happens. That's life. That's business. But overall, and especially over the medium to long term, you can start to realize just how good this team can be, and therefore is, from the point at which they started and from the point at which you started to help them with. Again, we do things all the time like this at On Point. Helping and advising, mentoring and coaching, it's all there. So it feels like second nature to us. But still, over and above the projects that we implement and clients that we help, unless we can spread the word a little bit more to people that tune into materials such as this, we start to feel a little bit selfish, and we just then realize how much of a difference all of this can make if people like yourselves just come to think of things a little bit more differently. Just like all the other episodes in this case, hopefully that has helped. A little bit more of an example there. There's more information available from us and through us. We've mentioned before about our social media channels, about our forums. You can reach out. LinkedIn is a big one and an easy one, but we've also got channels on things like Slack and Patreon. We're there. We're there to help. We're there to assist. Feel free to reach out and keep in touch, and we'll look forward to trying to support even further.